Hi, everyone, and a warm welcome to this session. So it's my pleasure and privilege to have Dr. Shailesh Kumar with us. So the topic for today's masterclass is going to be the AI revolution. I'm sure all of you have been following the developments as to what is happening on the front of AI, machine learning, and data science. Of course, there's a lot of talk about regulating the progress at which AI is growing right now. So there's a lot of things that are going on in terms of how AI is progressing. And we have a phenomenal speaker with us. When I got the introduction of Dr. Shailesh Kumar, it was a very small introduction that was shared with us. But of course, the kind of illustrious career that he has had, I think it's important for me to talk about it at this point of time. So Dr. Shailesh Kumar is currently he's the chief data scientist at Reliance JIO, and he's also visiting faculty of machine learning at ISP. Along with that, he's program mentor for the artificial intelligence and data science program at JIO Institute. And when you think of all the big organizations that you can think of in technology, he has worked with most of them. He has worked with FICO, Yahoo, Microsoft, Google, and now working at JIO, right? So, and of course, somebody who has been visiting faculty at some of the IITs and ISP and so on. So over to you, Professor. It's again a pleasure to have you. I'm sure that over the next 1 hour, people will be enlightened and they will get a lot of insights about the world of AI from you. So over to you.
Thank you, Prasad, and thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. So I hope you're hearing me clearly, right? There's no other disturbance? Okay.
Yes, sir, you're clear.
All right. So today I wanted to talk about this new theme that is emerging called AI for all. And what I want to talk about is a little bit of AI philosophy. What is AI? What is, what are the two broad reasons why we practice AI? And how do we apply it for social good, right? So today we have seen a lot of AI use cases in industry, but now we are transitioning from industry use cases to social good use cases. So I'll talk about how AI is also applied in agriculture, in healthcare, in education, because the last 20 years of AI has been amazing. We have built great search engines all the way to culminating into ChatGPT. We have seen a lot of progress in new technologies, both hardware, software, and algorithmic improvements in AI in the last 20 years. And the next wave of AI, which is the next 20 years of AI, is going to be AI for social good, right? So we'll talk about that towards the end. Yeah. All right. So let me give a little bit of context. And I think, this is one of the most amazing times to be around. We are in the midst of a beautiful convergence of technologies, right? So there are technologies like the internet, the connectivity through telecom, devices that everybody has, cloud computing, AI, ML is there, IoT is there, so we can collect all kinds of sensor data. We have, 3D printing and all of that, right? Blockchain and AR, VR, and many others. So the idea is that, today we are surrounded by these amazing technologies, and people who recognize the convergence of these, the togetherness of these technologies, are creating great products. And the reason we are able to have this conversation today is because we have cloud technology, we have internet, we have devices, and therefore we are able to have this conversation, right? So it's a convergence of technologies that make a product. And that is kind of the theme that we start with. And today we have amazing technologies that can come together to create great products, right? And that's what is the context in which I want to talk about. Now, among all these technologies, AI is considered one of the most important things, most profound technologies, right? And Sundar Pichai made a statement a few years ago that it is probably one of the most important things humanity has ever worked on. And I want you to think about this for a second. Humanity has worked on amazing things like, building airplanes, building the internet, building, Google Maps, search engines, now we are going to Mars, and all these things are done. And yet he's saying among all of that, AI is one of the most important things that humanity has ever done. Now, if I ask a farmer or a teacher or a student or a patient or a doctor or a common man on the street, he doesn't agree with this, right? He doesn't think that their life has yet been changed with AI. So when you think about this sentence, it's not really talking about what we have achieved with AI. Really, this is talking about the full potential of what AI can do. So the next 20 years, we are going to see that full potential coming together. And now you can see how AI is replacing, or improving all kinds of jobs, right? Including the job of a journalist or a job of a doctor or a radiologist or a driver or a pilot. Every job is now enhanced by AI, right? And that is kind of the new power that we have created. And it's a culmination of many types of disciplines coming together, right? The statistics, the computer science, the psychology, the neuroscience. So many disciplines have come together to create this amazing field. And we'll talk about what it is, what does it do, and how can it be applied for social change. Yeah. So let's talk about, what makes a great platform, right? Or a great product. So let me open up the stage, and I want to talk about your favorite products. What is it that you love today, you use every day? Just give me some examples of great products that you use. You can unmute and speak up.
Sir, students are writing in the chat window, but in case anybody wants to speak up, you can always raise your hand and we'll unmute. But otherwise, you can share it in the chat.
Yeah, let me open. Okay. WhatsApp, cars, mobile, yes. What else? Zoom calling, yes, of course. Consulting, okay. I'm talking about products. Laptops, yes. So what about, what about the products we use every day, the online products? Zoom call is one of them. What else? Internet, Swiggy, very nice. Online shopping apps, yes. Ola, Uber, very nice. LinkedIn, very nice. Urban Company, okay. Amazon, right? Very nice. So these are all great products, right? E-commerce, yes. So now let's talk about what makes them great. What is the definition of a great product? Is there a common theme that is running all across all these products that makes them great, right? And there are products like Google Maps, which is one of the most important products in the world today, right? If you think about it, every driver, every time you do a commute, you use Google Maps. You don't use Google Search or YouTube or TikTok that much, but you use Google Maps all the time, right? So now let's talk about what makes these great products. So the first I that makes a great product is the infrastructure. So today we build products for the planet, not for the PC, right? So Ola, Uber has to scale, right, to billions of rides in a day in a city. Google has to scale to billions of queries in a day. Swiggy has to scale to so many orders. Everything has to scale. So whatever we build has to scale to the number of people. Like JIO Telecom has to scale to millions, hundreds of millions of customers making phone calls and downloading data. So everything has to scale. So infrastructure is the first time. And with cloud computing now, we don't have to worry about the scale aspect of anything. Yeah. Now, when we talk about scale, we need to talk about physical scale and digital scale, right? So when I'm doing purely digital products like YouTube, TikTok and all of that, LinkedIn, these are all purely digital products and they can scale infinitely. And then I have purely physical products like physical cars, mobile phones. They have to scale based on the manufacturing process and the distribution system. But there is a third variety of products, which are what we call digital physical products, which are both digital and physical. So Ola, Uber is a digital physical product. You do a few things digitally, and a few things happen physically. Amazon is a digital physical product. Again, few things you do digitally, few things have to happen physically, right? So we understand these three types of products: purely digital, purely physical, and physical digital products. And this third category of physical digital products can scale only up to the physical part of it, right? So Ola, Uber cannot have infinite cabs in a city. They cannot scale infinitely. Swiggy cannot have infinite restaurants in a city. And wherever and Amazon cannot have infinite warehouses and delivery guys in a city, right? So digital physical products scale only as much as physical scaling allows. Purely digital products can scale infinitely. Netflix, you can have billions of users on the planet and it can scale because it's a purely digital product. So we understand the idea of scale, the idea of infrastructure. The second I is the interface. So if you think about how easy is it to use these products, right? If you just say, hey, Alexa, do something, right? Or it's very easy to send a WhatsApp message. Everybody knows how to do it. You don't have to read a manual to know how to run these products. When you open a new Gmail account or LinkedIn account or Twitter account, you don't go through a big manual. You just know what to do. So these are called interfaces, and a lot of work is going on in this new age human computer interface. How do you make machines as natural as human to human interaction, right? So speech enabled interaction that understands languages, facial expression understanding. So what is interfaces mean? So there's a lot of work, and I'm not just talking about UX design and UI. I'm talking about facial recognition, voice recognition based interfaces, right? The third I, and this is why we are all here, is what we call the intelligence. So it's not enough that I have a very scalable and a very beautiful product. It must also be intelligent. And what does intelligence means? When Google does auto suggestion, it must be intelligent. When it gives me search results, it must be relevant. When Ola, Uber is sending a cab, it must be nearby, right? And when Amazon is delivering a packet, it must deliver it within, short period of time. So there is intelligence embedded in all these decisions. And that is what today's human civilization is all about. We are an intelligent civilization because we are building intelligence into all our products, right? So we'll talk about this idea of intelligence. And these three I's make a minimum viable product today. All the products that we mentioned, highly scalable, beautiful interfaces, and very, very intelligent. And they're continuously improving. The next I is what we call the instantaneous product. So today we have instantaneous coffee. We want results from Google within 300 milliseconds. As we touch our screen, Netflix has to start, YouTube has to start. When we order something, pizza has to be delivered within 30 minutes. Ola, Uber has to come within 5 minutes, right? So these are what we call instantaneous products, real time, right? Back in the day when you were, our parents and grandparents would have to apply for a loan, it'll take 30 days to actually get an approval. Today, it's a 2-minute process. 2 minutes, you get an approval for a loan, right? That is how fast the decision-making capability has become instantaneous, right? When you're talking about autonomous vehicles, they have to react instantaneously as soon as the next car is slowing down. Instantaneousness, real-time thinking is another I that is making great products. And the next I, which is what the next 20 years of AI is going to see, is what I call integrated products. So Google Maps is a great product. Tesla car is a great product. GPS is a great product. Traffic system of a city is a great product. But now imagine if we integrate all of this, it becomes a connected car ecosystem where all cars are connected to each other in the cloud. And now they can optimize jointly all their commutes. That's an integrated product. A smart city is an integrated product. The overall agriculture ecosystem of a country is an integrated product, right? Hospital is an integrated product. So when we talk about integratedness, it means how all the parts are working together as a whole. Our body, for example, is an integrated product. It integrates all the 5 systems and then organs, cells, tissues. It's a beautiful example of what integration thinking is, right? And this is where the next 20 years of AI is going to be. We are going to start building smart cities, agriculture ecosystem, healthcare ecosystem of a country, which are going to be massively integrated products. Okay? So these are the 5 I's that I'm just talking about the past and the future of great products. So now with that background, let's talk about AI in general. But let me first talk about technology. Right? How do we define technology? And you've all seen that movie Three Idiots, where the professor says define machines, and it's a complicated definition. But I want to use a very simple definition of technology, and which is anything that extends our own human capacity into machines is technology, right? So whether you talk about a watch that helps you look at time better, or a microphone that lets you speak very far, or a car that lets you walk or move very quickly, or an aeroplane that makes you fly, right? Anything, or a telescope or a microscope that can see very far, very low. All this is technology, because this is all extending human capacity into machines, right? It's just making it better and better. Now, what is it that humans have, which is very unique, which we would also like to extend to machines? So let me take a pause here and ask this question. Put it in the chat box. What is so unique about humans that we would also like to extend into machines? Our brain. Yes, decision-making ability. Very nice. Emotional IQ. Very good. Yeah. So what makes us humans and very different from other species is not that we can walk, we can talk, we can lift things, but really our intelligence, right? And that is what we would also like to extend to machines. Now, why would we want to do that? Why should we not stay with, other things? We have built cranes which replace our hands. We have built rocket, bullet trains which replace our legs. Why do we have to replace our brain with AI? Why do we need that? Any thoughts? What would it do if we are able to do it? To make things easier, can handle big data very good. What else? Great things that humans cannot do. Exactly. So humans can only do so much. And now let me give you a few examples, right? So now imagine that you are a pharma scientist and you want to invent the next drug, cure for cancer or something. Now, today, what happens is you actually go through a lot of research, read a lot of papers, try to figure out what is already done, what is not working, what is working. And therefore, what should I do next to define, to design the next drug? Now, when a human does it, he has a limited capacity of how many documents you can read in a lifetime, how much can you remember, how many dots can you connect. So human process of research is very cumbersome, right? And very prone to missing a lot of things. You may not have read the right papers. You may have forgotten what you have read 10 years ago, and new papers are coming all the time. You cannot keep up with them. Now imagine one AI system that can read all the papers that are coming. It has read already all the papers that were published in the last 100 years. It can connect all the dots. It can build a knowledge graph between everything, and it can do reasoning and thinking on top of it. Now imagine that AI system, which does not have a limitation of scale. It can read as much as you want, remember everything, never forget anything, can now start discovering drugs, right? Medicines. And my goal is to not think about a human winning a Nobel Prize. Now imagine if AI does amazing stuff that it can keep winning Nobel Prizes every now and then, because it is far beyond human capacity now in those senses that we talked about, right? So how do I create a Nobel Prize winning AI scientist that produces a lot of good research that hundreds of humans over hundreds of years have not yet produced? And that is the potential of what AI can do, right? Let's take another example. Imagine a single doctor treating, let's say, 30 patients a day over a lifetime of so many years. That doctor may treat, let's say, 10,000 patients in a lifetime. By treating 10,000 patients, that doctor becomes a much better doctor because of all the experience. Now imagine there is an AI system that is treating billions of people in a single day and acquiring all of that data and becoming better using the feedback. Just imagine the scale at which the same human capacity has been translated into a cloud system, which doesn't have to worry about scale, right? Now I can produce, every time there is somebody sick, I can produce an AI doctor. And because it's a digital AI doctor and it can do the diagnosis and everything as good as a physical doctor. And now it can learn from that. So you start to see now the power of where AI is truly going. By converting human capacity of thinking and learning into machines, we are now going to be able to create amazing systems that will, be 100x, million x better than what a single human can do. Right? And that is the power we are sitting on. And ChatGPT is just a very small example of a new gateway that has been opened into the world of the future that we are talking about. Yeah. So it's a very amazing time to learn about this technology, to understand it in various levels, intuitively through applications and what it can do, and then start creating your own, brains for various things. So let's talk about what is intelligence. So tell me, what are the signs of intelligence? Yeah, we'll talk about that. So first tell me, what is intelligence? Ability to comprehend, taking smart decision, learning from past experience, ability to think, problem solving, thinking ability. We have our own limitations on computing. Yeah. Yes. Strong storing and computing information, reasoning. Very good. Ability to assess things. Okay. Very nice. So these are all great examples of what is intelligence, right? Analysis, very nice, right? Okay. So now let's talk about the 4-5 levels of intelligence. How can we classify that, right? So one is the ability to learn, right? So some of you talked about the ability to learn from past experience, and we do this all the time. Babies do this all the time. We learn to drive, we learn to speak languages, we learn to write, we learn all kinds of things. So this is all the ability. Learn to recognize objects, learn to play music, right? So this ability to learn is very important, and we'll talk a little bit about that. The second is to analyze the data, to understand, right? I'm speaking to you for the first time. You are able to understand what I'm saying. You are able to convert my audio into text and my text into some kind of an understanding. So we understand things, right? So that's a very important skill. So how do you understand audio, text, video, images, gene sequences, weather patterns, seismographs, ECG, understanding any kind of data and converting it to high-level semantics. That is understanding. Yeah? The third level is thinking. A lot of you talked about reasoning and thinking. Thinking is the art of, what do I do next, and then what do I do next, and then what do I do next, right? It's a sequence of decisions you have to optimize to get to a goal, right? So shortest path on Google search, Google Maps, for example, is an example of thinking. So we'll talk about what is thinking in a way. The next is creativity. And today, creating text out of a prompt like ChatGPT is creativity, right? So the idea of creativity is, can AI produce something which does not exist? So today we can create text or images or videos or music using AI. So these are 4 levels of intelligence. I'm not talking about artificial intelligence. I'm talking about human intelligence. And what we are saying is these 4 levels of intelligence that humans have has already been produced or converted into machines. And now this has no limitation. How much can you think? How deep can you think? How complex things you can understand? How much you can create? There is no end to it, right? You can produce a movie within 5 minutes today with all the characters and stories. That is the power we have, right? So it's an amazing power that we have created. And the last one is consciousness, which is self-awareness in a way, right? Which is saying, who am I? What is my purpose? So thank God we are not there yet. We will probably not get there in our lifetimes. But if we get there, then we have a big problem, right? And then we have to worry about AI all over again. And this is where a lot of the great AI leaders, Elon Musk and Hinton, all these people are worried about going beyond creativity and saying, what if AI becomes conscious? What if AI figures out how to produce energy, how to keep the cloud running, how to control the aircrafts and cars, how to bypass security that humans have put together, and then how to control, right? And that and have a consciousness around it, right? And you've seen movies like I, Robot and many others, where we talk about, or Isaac Asimov has written a lot about conscious machines, emotional intelligence, and all of that, right? So these are different dimensions of intelligence, and we'll talk about a few of them now, just to give you a sense of a deeper understanding of each of them differently. So tell me, what do you see? Right? So we see a letter A, not a difficult question, right? Now the real question is, have you seen these A's before? So we have not seen these A's before, but suddenly when we see these A's, suddenly we say, oh, this is an A. And this ability is called generalization. So humans are not a database system that in order for me to recognize a A, I should have seen that A before. Only then I can recognize it. No. So what our brain does, it sees the data, builds a model, throws away the data. So we don't remember all the A's we have ever seen. We don't remember them. What we do remember is that A's look different than B's and D's, and how do they look different? We know a model of A, model of B, model of a car, model of an aircraft, model of an auto. So everything that we have as a concept, we have a model of it. And we have a visual model of it, we have a sound model of it, we have a smell model of it. So we know how for example, your favorite dish sounds like, looks like, tastes like, smells like, feels like when you touch it, right? And you have a model of that. And why is that important skill? Why is this a very important skill in intelligence? Ability to generalize, right? So generalize means, just give me a few examples, I will generalize, and anything similar I can classify into that class. This is the foundation principle on which a lot of machine learning algorithms are built. So what we do is, now imagine that you're going through life and you never experience exactly the same thing again, right? You never experience the same class exactly the same, or same teacher exactly the same, or the same commute is exactly the same. Even your parents look different every time you meet them. So the idea is, we never experience exactly the same thing again, right? So therefore, the brain doesn't have to work on memorization of what we have seen, but we always see something similar than what we have seen before. So it's a generalization. So this was fundamental to survival of the species. The tiger and the deer will never experience the same thing ever again, but they will experience a similar thing. So this same to similar is what we call generalization. So what happens in your eyes? You look at these pictures, you have 300 million models, one for everything that you have, every concept that you have ever thought about. And then suddenly one of the models fires and say, this is an A, right? And that is the ability to generalize, right? So we don't memorize, we generalize. Okay, now let's talk about understanding. What is understanding? So what do you see now? Right, just the two slanting lines, red lines. And if I ask you, what do these lines mean? What is the understanding of this? You'll say they are just two red lines. There's nothing to it. But suddenly, if I put this, right? Then the left line has a different meaning, and the exact same red line has a completely different meaning on the right side. So what gave meaning to the line? Why did the meaning change? Tell me. What additional information? What is that called? There's a word for it. Yeah, subject was changed, context, exactly, right? Context is what is different. So what gives meaning to something is the context, right? In this case, it is visual data, but I can show you textual data. Again, the context is important, right? So when I understand language, I say Apple filed a suit against Orange. So Apple, what Apple do I mean? What filed means? What suit means? Orange means? All these four words are different. They have multiple senses, but which sense applies in this sentence is different than what sense applies in another sentence, right? So what is understanding? Understanding is the ability to go between the whole and the part. So the part is the word, whole is the sentence. Part is the line, whole is the image. And now you are saying, what meaning should I assign to the part so that the whole makes sense? And this is what we call understanding, right? So it's a very important principle. This principle is what is used in all your deep learning models, right? And that's how you know that this red pixel is part of a blood drop, and this red pixel is part of a rose flower. They are both red pixels, but it's a context that gives meaning to them, right? And this is the foundation of convolution networks and deep learning. Yeah. Okay. So now let's talk about thinking. What is thinking? Right? So tell me, what is thinking? Any thoughts on thinking? Deductions, very nice. Wow, you guys are amazing. Reasoning, yes. Extra information to determine the next course of action. Very good. Prediction. Prediction is different. Processing information is a very broad term. But reasoning, critical reasoning, these are all great examples of thinking. Analyzing is more like understanding. Yeah. So now let's take an example of what happens when you play a game of chess. So you are in a current board position. What are the few things that are happening in your mind? So first, you are saying, what are my possible moves? And then you are trying to pick the best possible among them, right? So you are saying, what are my feasible moves? What is the next thing I can do? Similarly, let's say you are solving a math equation and saying, simplify this expression. What is your brain doing? It is looking at your, 10th grade to 12th grade math and saying, tell me what all can I do? So your brain is telling you, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. These are all axioms of math you can apply to this expression. So that is one part of the brain, which is saying, tell me what is possible. And that is told by the domain knowledge. So in this case, math knowledge or cricket knowledge, when the player is deciding what kind of shot to play, or chess knowledge, when a chess player is deciding what move to do. And what does an experienced chess player versus the knower of the game, or what is an experienced mathematician than just a person who knows all the knowledge, is the person who not only knows the knowledge, but is also able to pick the right option and then again move to the next step. Again, think about what are the possible options. Again, go to the next step, again, go to the next step, right? So this ability to go from any state, explore the possible options, pick the best option, continue to do it, is called thinking. And these are very different skills now. Hopefully you understood that learning is a very different kind of AI, understanding is a very different kind of AI, thinking is a very different kind of AI. Yeah, these are all very different things. And thinking is really the ability to explore the feasible solutions and find the best. And now when, companies like AlphaGo, Google made AlphaGo, all it did was made a lot of games play each other on the cloud, millions and billions of games, and learn from it how to think. What is the next move? What is the next move in this state? What is the next move in that state? So it just learned so many things. and now it is able to think. Yeah. Okay. Now let's talk about creativity. And today we are in the ChatGPT world, so everybody understands creativity. So here is an example from the earlier version of ChatGPT. I was walking in an empty parking lot is the first sentence. I safely returned home is the last sentence. And we are asking AI to fill and create a story around that, right? And this green stuff is what the story it creates. It says, I saw a suspicious man who was walking towards me. I turned around and ran the other way. The man started running after me. I ran as fast as I could. The man couldn't catch me. I safely returned. You see? So now AI has generated this green text for you, which kind of links the first one to the last one. And this is like a creative storytelling. So this is creativity. Now I want to ask a very fundamental question. Does AI understand what a parking lot is the way humans understand what a parking lot is? Does AI understand what is a suspicious man the way humans understand what is a suspicious man? Do you think the way AI has learned to generate this sentence and the way humans would have generated this story, children would have done it, is exactly the same? Does AI really understand the way the world, the way, yes, right? Correct. So now you understand the difference between ChatGPT and true AI. True AI is when a robot actually moves around in a parking lot, when it experiences fear, when it runs as fast as it could, when it understands what is return home safely means. The way humans understand the world is far ahead of the way AI understands the world. So while we are all enamored by AI, let us not, feel like we have created something human-like. Yes, the effect looks very human-like, but because billions of pieces of text has been given, no understanding of it is given, right? AI does not understand what is a restaurant, what is ambience, what is fear, what is anxiety, what is suspicious. These are just words for it. It doesn't mean anything, right? So we are still far away from what we call artificial general intelligence, but the effect we see is fantastic, right? And therefore, AI is at a weird stage. We think it is very intelligent, but actually it is just a whole bunch of data crunched through a very beautiful algorithm. But it is still not the way humans think about the reality. Yeah? So we understand, we are all on the same page, that there's a lot of work to be done, but even this level of pseudo creativity is good enough for many, many tasks that we want to do. Yeah. All right. So now let's switch gears. I want to now, you understand AI at a philosophy level, right? It's the art of thinking, art of learning, art of understanding, and art of creating. 4 things we can do with AI. And this is the foundation of where it is going, right? Now, ultimately, one of the ways to think about the world we live in today, or any business, is that we make a lot of decisions in those businesses, right? So if you think about Ola, Uber, it makes a lot of decisions every time, right? Where should I put the next set of cabs in the next 15 minutes? How much should I charge? Who should I allocate a cab if multiple people are asking? Similarly, Amazon makes a lot of decisions, right? Where should I put the next, warehouse? Who should deliver what product to which house, right? What should be the pricing of products? What are the recommended products for a given product? What kind of campaigns should I run? So every business is really a collection of decisions. So we understand that, right? And the more our decisions are better and better, the more our businesses are better and better, right? How we run refineries, how we run banks, how we run agriculture, how we run electricity and hybrid electricity, everything is all about decision making. So what AI does fundamentally is to help improve our ability to make decisions. So let me talk about what that means. So quickly, today we are making what we call broadcast decisions, right? Same ad for everyone on a billboard, same ad in the TV for everyone. Can we do a better job? Can we do personalized marketing? Can we do personalized education? Can we do personalized advisory to each farmer? Can we do personalized medicine to each patient? So personalization is now possible because we know so much about the person that we can create very specific decisions for each person. Second important evolution of decision is, instead of saying we'll take 1 month to approve all the loans, can I do real-time loan approval, right? Can I do real-time coupon generation? So I know you bought a printer today. Can I give you a coupon of cartridge 2 months from now? Because that's the real-time, it takes 2 months on an average for person to buy a new cartridge. So how do we make real-time decisions, right? Ola, Uber makes a real-time decision in allocating cabs, right? So that is real-time. The next is reactive to proactive decisions. Can I make decisions not after something wrong has happened? Like, for example, a Fitbit company can say, look, your heart rate is going up, you are at a risk of heart attack. You should start doing something now, is a proactive decision. Or if a satellite is looking at a lot of data on the ground and saying that this farm, the crops are struggling, this guy needs a pesticide. And before something goes wrong, the system generates, an advisory for that farmer and say, you need to put this fertilizer. If you say yes, I'm going to send it to you. So he can save his crop. When a customer care call happens, instead of customer telling us that, hey, I'm not getting a signal, my call drops are happening, we also are collecting that data. Can we actually fix the problem before the customer complains about it? That is called proactive decision making, right? Similarly, when an AI teacher is looking at a student's performance in an exam, it can tell that, look, this student is struggling with this concept, and I need to make sure that this student gets those concepts more practice so that they don't fail in the exam. Proactive. So this is called proactive decision making. And the last one is tactical to strategic decision making. So the idea is, today we make very tactical decision, right? A customer joined the bank, you suddenly give him all the offers, car loan, ye loan, wo loan. But now imagine you work on the lifetime value of the customer instead of immediate, thing out of the customer, right? So you say, initially, let's make him a loyal customer. Then let's make him a valuable customer. Then make him a retained and happy customer, right? So the idea is, how do you think about balancing tactical to strategic decisions? Another example is, let's say you make, in a farming world, you are given a lot of subsidies, right? On water, on fertilizer, on pesticides. Now imagine you want to maximize your current crop yield. And what do? You put a lot of fertilizer, a lot of pesticides, and you do this for 5 seasons. What happens to the strategic long term? The soil is destroyed. And now there are many parts in the country where soil is so destroyed that you cannot grow anything anymore. And that is why the Save the Soil movement that, one of the things is going on in India, right? So how do you balance tactical to strategic? How do you create proactive decisions? How do you make real-time decisions? And how do you make personalized decisions? These 4 things can be done across all domains. Whether I'm running a telecom business, a retail business, a healthcare business, or a education business, right? Everywhere we can get this thing done. All right, so we understand that. Now let's quickly talk about how evolution of intelligence is happening in the business. So we start with infrastructure, right? I want to build Ola, Uber. Let me start by onboarding a lot of cabs, build the apps and all that. Then I want to automate the system. I want to put, rule-based system that say, if a customer wants a cab, look around in the 5-minute area and find the best cab. So that is automation, because you cannot scale without automation. Then you start to collect a lot of data, right? When do people ask for a ride? Where do they go from place A to place B? At what time of day, what day of week, right? How many people go from here? So you start to collect a lot of data. And then what happens? Then some button goes in your mind that says, oh, I'm sitting on a lot of data. Can I not improve how I run my Ola, Uber? Can I not improve the recommendation engine on YouTube? Can I not improve the the health advisory to all the people? Can I not improve, using my data, the whatever, right? The energy consumption of a city. So the whole point is now the world is at the stage that every institution is sitting on a lot of data. The banks, the insurance companies, the hospitals, the telecom companies, the retail companies, everybody is sitting on a lot of data. They don't know how to extract gold mine out of it, convert it to beautiful decisions using AI. This is the era of that transition. 10 years ago, we were struggling with how to create great databases to store more and more data. Before that, we were struggling with how to create sensors that can generate data. Now we are struggling with how to convert data into insights and actions. So this is the era of AI, what Java was 15 years ago. Today, AI is at that level. We have another 20, 30 years before AI matures and transforms the whole mankind, right? So we are in a very beautiful stage in this field. And how do companies adopt AI? They start with, hey, business intelligence. I want to make reports. So all these tools are sold. And, my problem with this is a lot of companies say we are done. We do AI because we have a lot of reports. So then I asked them, what do you do with those reports? So some companies said, we generate 1,200 reports every day about all kinds of things. Then I asked them, who reads those reports? How do those reports help your business? No answer. There is nobody who reads those reports. So now tell me, what is it that we need to do? Is reporting the past enough, or should we do something else? What should we do instead of reporting the past? Correct, predictive analysis. So we should predict the future instead of just reporting the past, right? And that's what the next generation of AI, machine learning is all about, predicting the future, right? Okay, so now I have predicted the future and say, oh, this crop is about to fail. This person is about to have a heart attack. The student is about to fail in math, whatever, right? I predicted a future. This customer is about to churn my business. Is prediction enough? What should I do next? Correct. So the now what somebody Kushbu said, take necessary steps, right? Actions driving prediction. So the whole idea is predictions are not enough. I have to take actions. What can I do about it? So if a crop is about to fail, I need to do root cause analysis and say, is it struggling because of fertilizer or this or that? And then take the next step. Now, is that enough? Taking one decision in a crop, is that enough? Taking one decision on a student, is that enough? Or taking one decision in a career advisory company like LinkedIn is enough? Yeah, so you take one corrective action and then what? Correct. So consider all possible outcomes and then take the next corrective action, then the next action, then the next action. So healthcare is a sequence of decisions. Agriculture is a sequence of decisions. Education is a sequence of decisions. So what we do now, we try to explore all possible futures. And that is where we do, advisory to a farmer that is not based on the current situation, but also the end goal and saying, look, you need to do this next, then you need to do this, then you need to do that. So when a sequence of actions is involved, that is where the true AI starts to shine, the reasoning and the thinking paradigm. Yeah. So we understand how different companies are making a journey through this, and almost every company is reporting the past. Fewer companies are actually making prediction models. Even fewer companies are actually converting those predictions to decisions. And very few companies are actually doing long-term reasoning on their data. Yeah. So this is the journey of AI adoption in different ways. So now I want to talk about, so we understand that AI does amazing things. AI has a beautiful philosophy of how humans work, and AI does transform all the decisions that a business takes, right? So today what is happening, a lot of commercial businesses, right? Like retail, telecom, uh, commercial business, ads, marketing, media, all these companies, Cricket 11, all these commercial things are adopting AI a lot, right? There is another group of people who are working on social transformations with AI, right? What can AI do for healthcare? What can AI do for society in general, right? For agriculture, for food sustainability and all. So what we'll do is now talk about this social transformation with AI, right? So healthcare, agriculture, education, smart cities, these are the next 20-year projects. We are not going to just talk about improve ChatGPT forever, make it, something else. We're not just going to talk about, the incremental improvements on search, but really big transformations that AI can do so that what Sundar Pichai said can actually be realized by our patients and doctors and farmers, right? So there's a big opportunity, and that is where we are looking for people who are driven by this idea that technology can transform society. The way, industrial revolution technologies like the steam engine, the lift or the elevator system, or whatever, these technologies like the internet, they have transformed human society. Now we are in the era where another kind of, evolution of human society is going to happen. And it is going to happen in these sectors. And that is what the big opportunity in front of all of us is. Yeah? So that is what makes me very excited about the field of AI now. So let's take some examples in these areas, right? Healthcare for all. So now, if you think about, a lot of us read some blogs and say, oh, healthcare needs some models here, some models there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to talk about the big picture thinking and the box thinking. So one of the skills that is missing in our students that I see is they start to do very specific things very well, but they lose the big picture. So I want to develop this skill through our courses of what we call system thinking, solution thinking, design thinking, right? Architectural thinking, and algorithmic thinking. So these are different skills that we need to develop to change the country in the ways we want, right? So I want us to first understand what is the big picture here, right? What are the opportunities in healthcare? So if you think about the electronic health record, today, if you take your physical file with the doctor notes, x-rays inside, some medicine prescriptions, all this is your physical health record. And you go from hospital to hospital, show the previous thing, the doctor scans it, it's a mess. But now imagine if all that information is present in one place, all your symptoms, diagnosis, what prescriptions, all your lab tests. Now imagine you go to a doctor with empty hands. You just tell him your phone number and he queries the system and he gets all your reports in one place of the last 6 months. And then he can say that you used to have a lot of cough in the childhood, then it became wheezing problem, then you are heading towards asthma because I can see where it is going. So therefore you need to do certain things, right? Can you just imagine the possibility of even collecting all your healthcare data in one place and looking at it like a movie and saying, where is this movie heading, right? Electronic health record systems are being built in the country now. Can we develop health scorecards? Every morning you wake up, you should see 5 scores, right? What is my sleep score, my cardiac score, my sugar score, my kidney score, whatever, my psychology score, emotional score. Can we build scorecards for everything? Like we have scorecards in physics and math, can we have a scorecard that tells me the state of the health, and therefore it tells me what to do about it, right? There are a lot of applications of computer vision in healthcare, right? So today humans have to look for images of X-ray and MRI and decide what is there, where is the tumor, or is it COVID or TB in the X-ray. There's a lot of areas where computer vision is now applied to healthcare applications. Then think about supply chain, right? If I know what diseases are coming, can I actually organize my medicine delivery, the beds, where to open the next hospital, where to send more oxygen during COVID, where to send more testing kits? All this supply chain can happen today very well. Right? The next is diagnosing diseases, right? And one of the biggest problems today is you go to a doctor, most people in India, most people, 99% of people in India, I'm talking about, the villages and the rural areas also, have access to very, very poor quality of doctors, because only the junior doctors go to villages. Sometimes there are no doctors. And, a disease is a disease. It doesn't distinguish between urban and a rural. It doesn't say you don't have good doctors, so I'm not going to disturb you. The disease will come and you don't have a good doctor. You don't know what is going on. Diagnosis is not happening. Can AI help with diagnosis? So I'm going to show you one example of that. Then omics, right? Today, we only think about health from a very superficial level, but we also have our genetics and genomics going on. Epigenetics, which genes are triggered when, right? Proteomics, metabolics. So there is a whole bunch of things that happen in the body, which we are now starting to understand. The effect of mind on body, the effect of genes on body and health, right? All of that. So this is called omics in healthcare. And then drug discovery, we talked about how it is a very 10-year time consuming process. Can AI help in faster vaccination and, cure for cancer and all of that, right? Can we accelerate that? So these are different areas of healthcare APIs that the world needs. And you could be excited about any of these, yeah? Then now let me talk about the box, right? Now here is a very important learning that I want to share, which is every domain, let's say healthcare, has a very important critical problem. If that is not solved well, everything else is kind of dependent on it, right? So what is the most critical problem in healthcare? The most critical problem is, diagnosis, like we talked about, right? And wrong diagnosis, delayed diagnosis, wrong prescription leads to a lot of deaths worldwide, right? And diagnosis is not an easy problem. Fever with headache is different than fever with cold or fever with shivers. So it's very different. And we don't know how to diagnose properly. And the problem is more because as you look at the breadth and depth of the country, the diversity of the country, there are a variety of people, lifestyles and eating habits and genetics, right? So it's a very complex problem to diagnose accurately. So what do we need is an AI-assisted doctor, which has the knowledge of all the doctors across the country, and it can ensure a very holistic diagnosis, make sure that none of the diseases is missed. It knows about all the disease, and it can do a very precise diagnosis, right? So let's take an example of this journey, right? So the idea is, imagine a patient walks in with some symptoms. Now AI takes over and says, okay, let me have a conversation with the patient. Do you have this? Do you also have that? How much fever and all that? Then AI produces a diagnosis, presents it to a doctor. The doctor approves it, corrects it, whatever. Then we decide whether we need more investigation. Then AI suggests what investigations can be done. If there are top 3 diseases, what tests should we do? Then the patient does the test, uploads the result. AI can analyze the results, whether it is blood test or X-ray, and then it can do a post-clinical diagnosis and say this is the final diagnosis based on initial symptoms and tests. And now I can tell you what is the right medicine combination for you based on your allergies and other medicines you are taking. And again, doctor can override that, right? So this is what we call the workflow thinking. This is another skill set I want to develop, which is how do you think at the system level, at a workflow level? How does a process work? Where can we ingest AI in that process? This thought process is missing in our students. Everybody can build a machine learning model today. That's a 12th grade project, by the way. You don't need to attend an AI college to learn how to build models. You really need to attend an AI college to really understand how to apply AI at a holistic system level. How to take one vertical like healthcare or agriculture or education, how to think top down about it and architect the entire AI architecture for it. That skill set is what I want to develop in people. Yeah, models everybody can build, and we'll obviously build models, right? So here's an example of a conversation, a reasoning system. We talked about thinking and reasoning. So AI, a patient comes in and says, I have these symptoms. So I store all the symptoms that he has told me. Then the first AI says, based on the symptoms, this is what I think the disease is, current disease, right? So we have had 1 minute of conversation. You have told me few things. Based on that, I have a certain disease in mind as a doctor or an AI doctor. Then I'll decide whether I am confirmed with my diagnosis or I need to ask more questions. If I'm done with my diagnosis, I can say, okay, I'm done. I think you have pneumonia, and here is the prescription and test and all that. Or it can ask a rule-based question, or it can ask a reasoning-based question, right? And then the conversation continues. The patient answers those questions, and it keeps going on and on till the diagnosis becomes confident. So let me show you an example of that. So we have built this for the country now, and we are going to launch it on the National Health website and all that with lots of diseases and symptoms. So let's show you what an example of what it does, right? So you start the diagnosis, male, age and gender, you put initial symptoms, fever, headache, and all that. And now it asks you follow-up question, rule-based questions. Fever means how much fever, since how long, what is the pattern? Then headache question, where is the headache? You pick the headache, right? How severe is the headache and all that, right? So these are the questions AI is asking automatically because it is supposed to ask these questions because you have said headache, right? So these are deeper questions. Now, the second part of AI kicks in. Now AI has made up its mind. What are the possible diseases, 50 diseases that it can think of? What question should it ask next to narrow down the top 5? So that is the intelligence reasoning part. And now it is asking a very specific set of questions, and you are asking no, yes, and no. So it is eliminating certain diseases and it is exaggerating certain diseases, and therefore it is asking the right question, pretty much like a doctor would do. And then, it asks more follow-up questions to rule out certain other diseases. And finally, it's asking some more questions. It is still not confident. So it is still ruling out some more questions. And now it is saying, I think based on what you have told me, you have cerebral malaria, or it could be any of these. So now what a real doctor would do when he looks at all this, he can agree to this and say, okay, now go do these tests, or immediately, call an ambulance, whatever is needed. Just imagine this, right? You have a WhatsApp number. You can talk to the AI doctor in your local language, Udiya, Punjabi, whatever. You are 2 o'clock at night, your child has a symptom. You don't know what to do. There are no nearby hospitals, no nurse, no doctor. What do? I want you to put yourself in that mother's shoes. And she goes to this WhatsApp, opens it, and in the local language, she's answering all these questions. And suddenly, let's say cerebral malaria comes up. And now imagine we have another system that is ready to send an ambulance. So without you having to worry about what to do, the level of confidence in people about their healthcare system improves. That no matter what the disease is, even if I don't have a doctor nearby, I have an AI doctor, which is as easy as WhatsApp to use, and I can figure out whether my disease is life-threatening. Do I need an ambulance? Is there a local cure? Can I do some yoga? Can I stop eating something? Or can I take some medicines, right? So imagine that whole workflow working for you individually, precisely, and without the need for an expert doctor. Yeah. So that is the power what AI can bring. Let me just stop this example, but you get the picture, right? So multiple things we have learned here. One is how to think about the big picture of healthcare, how to take a specific problem, the most important problem, and build a solution for it, how to deliver the solution to the masses with connectivity, devices, language translation, videos, everything possible. And this is what we call a solution thinking and the big picture architectural thinking. Both thinking methods have to be developed for us to build the next 20 years of AI for the people. Yeah. And this is what it does. It starts with, initially you've told me certain symptoms, and then slowly you see benign prostate is going up and up. And suddenly after 3-4 questions, it becomes the top disease. So this is how the doctors think, and this is how the AI is thinking and developing its solution. Yeah? Okay. Now let me talk about an even bigger picture, right? Which is, now imagine for the whole country, there is one AI system. it is able to consume all kinds of events, right? So people are talking about what symptoms they have, reports are coming, radiology reports, wearable data is coming, diagnosis lab reports are coming, prescriptions are coming, feedback is coming, did you get well, did you get sick? Now imagine I want to create a health brain for the society. And to do that, I'm going to need the entire knowledge graph of health in one place, right? What diseases cause what symptoms, what medicines can cure what, have what side effects, what genes when activated cause what symptoms. So I need the medical knowledge graph. I need the electronic health record of every citizen, which is coming, by the way, right? Then we have all the models, the computer vision models, the omics models, and all that in place. And now we have a lot of medical content, right, from WebMD or Indian doctors. Now all this is feeding into the AI brain, and now it is producing advisories, right, and saying, hey, this is the disease this is the diagnosis of this disease. These are the investigation you should do. These are the prescription. These are the lifestyle changes somebody should do. You should connect to this specialty doctor in practice. You should, go to an emergency hospital immediately. Or medicines are running out for dengue in Delhi after rain, you need more medicines there. So just imagine a single integrated system. I talked about integrated. This is an integrated system which integrates all your lab tests, all the events, all your Fitbit into one integrated whole, and keeps producing all kinds of advisory for everyone, which is highly personalized, highly proactive, highly real time, and highly strategic. We talked about the 4 levels of decision making. So you understand the big picture and the small picture and how to put it all together. This kind of thinkers are required to take India to the next level. Yeah. And this is what we are hoping to create in our program, that we are not just learning how to build a k-means clustering. We are learning to solve society's big problem using these beautiful frameworks that now you can see how much work is there to be done. So there is a need for so many people just in healthcare. Yeah. Let me talk about agriculture. India has done amazing things with, the green revolution and all that. Now AI can start to play a role, right? So we can build crop models. We can build soil analytics. We can build computer vision for agriculture. I want you to imagine a farmer taking a picture of a crop, and within 3 hours, the right, pesticide is delivered to that farmer. That's all. That is ChatGPT for you now, which is given a picture of the crop. The AI understood what the problem is. The AI has a knowledge graph that says, given this kind of a crop in this soil, in this weather, and all that, this is the kind of pesticide he needs. And now AI is delivering that pesticide because it knows who are the suppliers in that local area, and it is sending them a advisory to send this pesticide, and it is charging the farmer's GPay account. Just imagine with one picture, the farmer receives the right fertilizer or advisory, right? That is the power we have to create such an ecosystem. Today, there is struggle everywhere. What crop to grow, he doesn't know. Should he water the crop tomorrow? He doesn't know. Where should he sell? He doesn't know, right? What is all this satellite data doing for him? He doesn't know, right? So now imagine, how do you create an integrated agriculture system that can create this? How about the omics in agriculture world? Is amazing, right? And different advisories you can give. Yeah, this is the big picture of what we want to do. There are 2,000 APIs in agriculture that we need to build for every crop, for every season, for every soil, every weather. We need to create advisories, right? Knowledge graph, right? How do you think about, capturing all the knowledge of agriculture or healthcare in one place, right? It's a very important infrastructure to be built. And then we can now imagine a farmer calls, you need speech to text, Telugu, Marathi, whatever language, and then text to intent. He's asking for, what to do to, do certain practices. You have an AI system, you can get the GPS, and then you can create you have a knowledge graph of agriculture. Then you have satellite data for that guy's farm. You have weather prediction, you have soil IoT data. How do you combine this much power and then create personalized advisory for that farmer using a strategic goal that I want to make sure the soil is good and the crop is good. And how do you send the right content and say, watch this video before you apply a pesticide? And here is an action, I'm delivering a pesticide in 3 hours, right? So this kind of thing can you do for every farmer is our next moonshot. Like I talked about the moonshot in healthcare, right? Can we ensure that no person is suffering because of bad and wrong diagnosis? Here, similarly, no farmer is losing a crop because of untimely advice, right? And this is what agriculture, brain can do for society, right? You have all kinds of events coming in on one side, all kinds of advisories going on, and you have the entire knowledge base of agriculture, all the rules curated by agriculture experts for local states, and then all the content and farmer lake. You know exactly what the farmer has been doing. He's entering that data into the app, and now we know all that he's doing. Yeah. Last, education. So we all grew up in a very weird education system. This is the education system that the British created to produce clerks, right? And that's what we are following. We are following a 200-year-old education system, which was designed deliberately to create clerks, because that's what the British needed. They needed skilled workforce for the Industrial Revolution to run their factories. They did not need people to create new things, to invent new things. So 200 years later also, we are following the same education system, right? One classroom, 30 students, same textbook, same pace, ratta maro, exam do, ratta maro, exam do, and we are producing idiots at the end of the whole thing. So every company who hires people from colleges and schools has to retrain them to become actually useful for society. Our state of education is very, very poor, right? And on my LinkedIn, I have given a talk on how bad it is. And recently, Salah Khan talked about it. Many people, right, including Elon Musk, talked about how bad is our education system. And this is worldwide. Now imagine an AI teacher. Imagine your school is your iPad or your device. Now it can understand the formula you are writing, your handwriting, your language, your images. So today, let's say your device can understand all the stuff you produce. It can also understand what you know, what can you apply, what concepts, what kind of mistakes you do, what is your test-taking behavior. So it understands you like a personal tutor. Every child is unique, right? So we are able to do that with the data that we are collecting, right? You did this problem wrong, you did this step wrong, you could not apply this concept, although you can define the term Pythagoras theorem, but you could not apply. So you have not achieved full mastery over that concept. So it understands the student very precisely the way a personal tutor would understand the student, right? And now with that understanding, it can personalize exactly what you should study next. So there's no such thing as everybody studies the same thing in a classroom. That era is gone. Remember, we talked about broadcast to personalized education, right? Broadcast to personalized healthcare, broadcast to personalized agriculture. So this is that. So now imagine a student knows certain concepts well. Let me see. Let me give an example of this, right? So let's say a student A knows concept P very well, Q medium and R very poorly. AI is suggesting that you should study X concept, or you should study concept Q, or you should figure out why your concept R is bad. Let me go back. And this is the dependence graph between concept to concept and all that. Student B has a different profile. He has mastered the concept R very well, right? And he's struggling with concept P. So AI is suggesting that student B should learn concept Y or concept P tomorrow. You see how AI can carve out a very unique learning path for every student, right? And that is the power that we all have now. We can create systems like this. There are 3 capstone projects we did in health, in education and AI in education. And one of the teams has built this system, which is now suggesting what topic to study, let's say in any field, whether it's medicine or UPSC exam or engineering or AI and machine learning. you given a set of topics and dependence graph, it is able to tell you what you should study next, right? The big problem. And today, why we struggle? Because we don't know whether we are ready to take this course or we are behind, right? Have we done all the prerequisites or not? So we need to think about how does AI create a unique learning path for every student? Or how do we customize the content for every student and say, you are a visual learner, you are an abstract thinker, you are a kinetic learner. So I will give you different kind of content for the same concept because different students learn differently. How do I give a different homework to every student? To a very bright student, I give some hard problems. He's happy, he's challenged, right? And he's done. To a not so bright student, I give them easy problems first. He struggles, I give more and more till he goes up and up. Then I say, watch this video again, then come back, again do it. So he also masters the same concept, but slowly at his own pace. How do I adapt AI like a tutor is adapting to a student? Very important ideas that are possible now. Yeah. All right. So the future of education is, in my world, there is a digital physical school that is coming. A digital school is all your watching of content, doing your practice, taking your assessment can be done digitally. These are all digital activities, right? And the reason you actually go to school is to work with the teacher to clear your doubts one-on-one, to teach each other. Imagine a world where kids are teaching each other and therefore learning, to do hackathons and create innovations, to solve the next big climate change problem or whatever, to do sports and debates and orchestra and science labs together. So this is the digital physical hybrid school model that we are proposing is possible, right? So that we learn at our pace and we learn for a purpose. And then, there's no such thing as passing an exam. You automatically pass an exam because you have mastered the skill and the AI knows it. And there's no fear of, exam anymore, right? There's always another exam. You can still master the same thing. You can watch this video again. You can practice more, keep doing it. And the AI nudges you to get there. Yeah. So huge opportunities. So I think, where we want to go is, let me tell you the national level big picture, which we are pushing for, is that on one side, on the right side, there is a lot of sectors that need help with AI. In each sector, we have a lot of beneficiaries, like in healthcare. Within that one beneficiary, we run a lot of applications, and each application needs a lot of services. And there are a lot of AI services that are needed. Within AI services, the question is, who is going to build all this? Right? The 30 people here is not enough. The entire Google company is not enough. All the data scientists in India is not enough. And we are trying to build a complete ecosystem of AI so that even if a student does a BTech project or a master's thesis or a PhD thesis, how quickly can his work become accessible to the farmer or to the healthcare provider or to a student, depending on what he has done. So the goal of JIO Institute is not just to be an education institution. We want to be this platform where people come in, deploy their models on a very simple place, and consumers come and consume those models and build products and services on top. And we enable this Uberization of AI between producers of AI and consumers of AI. And now every API in AI is competed for. Everybody competes for that API, right? So that's the idea that everybody can produce AI. There are APIs that have to be produced. Speech to text in Bengali is one API, right? Satellite data to tomato crop stage prediction is one API. So think about APIs, thousands of APIs needed in health, agriculture, space, everywhere, defense. And now there are no companies to work for. You build APIs, you put them out there, models, and if your models are better than others, you start to get money out of it. So it's a natural, way of, a new way of thinking about the AI, post-AI economy, right? We don't work for a company anymore. We work for models and APIs, and we try to improve them and give our bank account. And, as like Ola, Uber, it just flows, right? So that is possible. So let me just show you this video to drive your imagination. What is possible if we put this system together? So let me see if the audio is coming.
What's your phone number?
Can you hear the audio?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now this was an app that we built for the fishermen of India. And what was happening is when this app was, they don't know how to read. They don't know, so we wanted to make a speech enabled app so that, it talks to them. Now see what is happening. When the user is choosing the language English, the audio comes. But when they choose the language Telugu or Tamil, the audio doesn't come, right? Now, so this is one consumer of AI. He is expert in fishery, but he doesn't know anything about speech to text and text to intent models in AI, right? He is not an expert in speech. Now I want you to imagine somewhere else in the country, somebody goes to this marketplace for India and he clicks on text to speech, and then he says, I am an expert, I am an IIT Madras professor or a PhD student. I built the world's best text to speech model for Tamil. And somebody, a BTech student in IIIT Hyderabad has built the best model for Telugu. They have uploaded their models on those websites.
Me phone number?
And suddenly this app is working and producing the, text. You understand the power of what we are talking about? There is a producer of AI who produced models. There is a consumer of AI, which is the fishery app, who requires those models. This guy doesn't have to even build a new version of the app. He is connected to the marketplace and saying, give me the models of speech to text in Tamil and Telugu. He is calling that API. Now, as long as there is no one who has produced a model, he is not getting any results back. So the app is silent on those languages. But as soon as somebody uploaded a model who doesn't even know that this guy exists, by the way, right? And now suddenly his app has become speech enabled. This is the power of what will happen if we can bring producers and consumers of AI together. Okay. So let me now talk about the last slide, which is how do we get there, right? Together, how do we get India transformed like what JIO did with telecom, right? Suddenly we transformed the country by providing almost, free data, right? The cheapest data in the world. How do we transform the society with AI now, right? What are the principles? So one is we need to think very big picture, right? Don't think about piecemeal. Start with a big picture, do your research and figure out what all things I need to transform the sector, right? How do you standardize everything? Today, there is no standardization between, many things, right? But if you look at 5G, 4G, 3G, you are able to make a call internationally. It is possible because of standardization, protocols. AI needs that world of standardization, right? So how do we create that? Data standardization, AI model standardization. We talked about personalization, democratization. How do I make sure that everybody can produce AI, everybody can consume AI in a very open platform, right? And then how do we think about inclusion? When I build an app, am I only building it for urban English-speaking tech-savvy people, or am I building it for everyone, right? So how do we think about inclusion as a guiding principle? And lastly, how do we build trust in people and say, look, how will you trust an AI doctor? How will you trust an AI agriculture expert? How will you trust an AI teacher, right? Who is deciding what curriculums and all that you have to do. So the idea is, these are the principles that we are following to get to a place where we can really transform the society with AI, right? And this is the journey. This is the real reason why you should join an AI program. Not to get a better job or, increase in salary. You want to be fired up by this idea that you can transform society with these kind of things. Yeah. Okay. So let me stop here. I will take some questions now. And
Yes, so we have a question. It's there in Q&A box. So there are two questions there.
Yes. Okay. Brief explain the difference between ChatGPT and stability.ai. Stability.ai. So I don't know, I have to look it up. But like I said earlier, ChatGPT is just a lot of text without a lot of understanding, right? And I think it's going to stay that way because unless AI experiences the real world the way humans do, we'll still have that kind of a chat GPT, but it is going to remain very, very powerful. Stability.ai, I have to look it up and then I can answer that question. If there are stages in a like normal AI and Apex AI, yes. So yeah, I think see AI is evolving at multiple levels. So each API is becoming better and better, and holistic solutions are coming using those APIs. So we can be either a solution thinker and say, look, I am interested in producing amazing products and platforms for society. Therefore, I will look at AI as a consumer. Or you can be a researcher and a mathematician and a statistician who can say, I want to keep improving the individual models and make them better. So both sides you can look at and be a AI person in that way. Okay? Yeah. I have a lot of talks that I have given on my LinkedIn. Feel free to watch them. And that gives you a sense of where I think, our skill sets have to evolve to become the next generation data scientists. Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts, questions?
So there's one more in Q&A from Meghnath and one from Saurav.
API or algorithms are subject to malware and yes, yes. For example, healthcare, yes. Yes. So that is true for anything, right? See, if you don't regulate a field, it becomes crazy, right? So when we started the nuclear program, the first mistake we did was we bombed 2 cities before we started using nuclear energy for producing electricity. When we created the internet, we filled it with all kinds of junk before we started using it for education. Now we are using YouTube for education. Earlier, we were using it for something else. So you understand that it is human nature to first destroy ourselves with a new technology before we emancipate ourselves from a new technology. This has been happening since the birth of mankind. We have been using weapons which were used to shoot, something else to kill each other now, right? So the idea is, I think human race has to evolve and become wiser to use technology instead of being used by it. So that is the thing, that's the bigger answer. And yes, there are bad people out there who are using malware, cyber attacks, stealing your credit card numbers, doing fake, videos and all of that. So there are misusers of AI. Therefore, a lot of regulation and checks and balances have to come. Yeah. And that's what the next question is about, the regulatory body and all that. And that is what is evolving now, right? What are the privacy laws? What are the laws on fairness, bias? Make sure the models are, proper and don't have any bad intent and all that. So how do we do that? So these are the next generation questions. We have solved the accuracy problem. We can build accurate models, but are they unbiased? Are they privacy preserving? Are they cyber security proof or cyber attack proof? These are the next big questions. And once we answer them, we get a next robust society, right? Okay. So governing bodies are there in every country now, right? Including in India, we have a privacy body, we have a AI regulatory authority and all that is going to come up. Yeah. Bit of starting sessions difference between GAN versus transformer. So that's a deeper question. We will talk about it when you join the program. And then, we can answer those kind of questions later. So this talk was not about specific techniques and tools. This talk is more about the philosophy of AI and the potential of using AI to transform the world. Yeah? All right.
Okay, I believe we have answered all the questions. So thanks everyone for joining, and thank you, Dr. Shailesh Kumar, for this is one of the most interesting and insightful session that I have been a part of. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with all the students. I'm sure that people will get people who were excited before attending this session definitely would further strengthen their interest. But I believe people who had no idea about AI/ML, because of your session, a lot of them will now get interested. So thank you. Thanks again.